Hello, Republic of Gamers, and welcome to ROG Pulse. Today, we are talking about AI noise cancellation and two-way AI noise cancellation. As always, my name is Jake Kalinske, and Sascha is my partner in crime today. Sascha, how are things?
Oh, pretty good. I'm really excited for the weekend because this is the first time we don't have to watch over our little baby and the in-laws are taking care of him. So finally some sleep. Yeah.
Nice, nice. You must be excited for that. But
Yeah. So are my eyes. I think you can tell. Yeah.
in a way, you're getting noise cancellation in real life for the weekend.
Yeah, and fun fact, baby cries are actually one of the things where AI noise canceling work the best. So
Really?
yeah, it works really well. Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, guys, we're going to be diving in and talking about basically the various forms of noise cancellation that we offer with our products, how it all got started, and where the technology is going. So yeah, let's just kind of dive into it. So it's become, for a little while now, we've been throwing the AI noise cancellation onto our headsets. Like my Go 2.4 does have it as an option. And what are you wearing? What headset is that?
Yeah, I got the Strix Go wireless as well. Really nice headset, and yeah, that one has hardware built-in AI mic noise canceling, and yeah, you can either use it wirelessly, so it has a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, Type-C dongle, and you can use an adapter to have a Type A as well,
Hmm.
and it has an option to just plug in the cable as well, a 3.5 millimeter.
I think that we should just kind of reel it back and talk about why would you want noise cancellation. And the question is like basically what is noise cancellation? It's removing all external sound that is not your voice. So basically the technology is, if I'm correct, it's listening to human voices and aiming to make sure all of that goes through, but then taking anything that isn't a human voice, whether it be a keyboard or a siren outside, and deleting that. Am I correct, or is it more complex than that?
Yeah, and essentially, I mean, we've been able to do something similar for a while, where you kind of know there's a certain range in frequency where you know that's human voice, and then
Hmm.
there's other frequencies that clearly are not human voice. And there's already been options for a while that you can just reduce the volume of those other frequencies, or you can kind of just cut it off. That's something that has been done for a long time already. But now, it gets very tricky for those frequencies. Everything that could be human voice, how do you know, is that human voice or not? And if you look at something like a visualization of the different frequencies you're capturing, like audio, from that you can tell it's super hard to see what is that. If you just look at audio visualization, like in an audio mixing app, you don't know what is that. Is that a dog barking? Is that a
Right.
person talking? Is that a car? You have no idea, right? And so for software, for AI, that's really hard to analyze as well. But it's come a really long way. And with deep learning, I think most people are familiar now with what deep learning is. You can essentially give different samples to an AI, to an algorithm, and you just run it and train it on those different samples. And you keep showing him, like, you keep showing the algorithm, like, this is an apple, this is not an apple. This is a different apple, this is also not an apple. And you just keep doing that, and long enough, eventually, once you have trained the AI well enough, it has figured out certain parameters. This is how I can tell that it's an apple and it's not. And sometimes it's so complex, most of the time it's so complex that we cannot even really understand, like, this is something we would have never thought of, like,
Right.
so you just correlate the shape with the size and the calculated volume or something, like, oh, okay, that's how the algorithm figures out this is an apple and this is not an apple. This is not how we would define it. We would just look at it, it's round and should be kind of reflective and glossy and this kind of color range, blue is not okay, green is okay, red is okay, that kind of stuff. So it essentially creates a set of rules, and it checks all those rules, and if those fit, then it says, okay, that's an apple. And in this case, a human voice.
Right. It's cool. I mean, we're talking about a lot of time going into this neural training, and then 500 million different sounds can be filtered out. Essentially, it's like, you think about the basic things when you're using a PC. You're going to think about keyboard clacks. You're talking about sirens. You're talking about a vacuum cleaner. If your mom's upstairs vacuum cleaning and you're playing Valorant with your buddies, they're not going to hear that at all. It's going to completely filter that out, which is really, I mean, I think we grew up using Ventrilo with push to talk, playing games like Counter-Strike 1.6, because we're both in like our 30s, and back then it was painful. First of all, the sound quality was horrendous. Second of all, you often had to pay for a server just to use it. And now we're getting to a time where we've got great resources like Discord or a built-in in-game chat, and now we're getting to the point where this noise cancellation is making sure that pretty much no matter what mic you have, it's a decent experience, as long as you have some kind of noise cancellation with it. And yes, our headsets have it built in. Our headsets are very just plug and play. Great. But we go a little bit of a step further when we're talking about our next gen 2021 laptops, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and that's what we want to talk about here today is on our 2021 models, we are going to have AI mic noise cancellation on all models, all 2021 models. And we're going to have two-way AI noise cancellation. And like you mentioned, the key point there is that's something that's been frustrating people forever. Like you spend all this time and effort to research and find a good mic. You set up the mic well. You even have maybe make sure there's no background noise, and you use push to talk to make sure you're not annoying your teammates. And then you always have some people on the game who have the mic on all the time, who seem to be sitting next to a busy road, or there's like they're in a cafe, there's like people walking by, you hear all sorts of background noise all the time. They have a horrible mic with really annoying distortion and crackling sound, whatever. Sometimes they're eating chips and whatever. So you have all those people, and all it takes is one of those people in your game to just ruin everything, because then you can't really communicate efficiently anymore, right?
Right.
So the cool thing is that we're able to do this for the upstream and the downstream. So that means we can apply this filtering to remove background noise and only have the human voice in there, not just for your own mic, for our own mic, but also for everybody else's. So that means no matter how crappy the mic is that somebody else is using, no matter how busy the environment is they're in, you can remove the background noise from their mics, all of their mics. So that's a really cool feature, and really changes things up in a very big way. It makes a huge difference. So you can basically not just mute people, that happens on Zoom calls now all the time.
Sure.
There's always that one person who forgot that they're not on mute, and then you overhear like a private conversation, or you hear like something in the background. You're like, yeah, you're not muted, and you can just mute them. But instead of just muting them, you can just mute the background noise. So yeah, that's a really cool feature. And like you said, a lot of go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll kind of dive into that into a minute. So now that we understand there's basically the single way noise cancellation that a lot of people have come to expect, but now we're looking at two-way noise cancellation being an option. And with so many people working from home, sitting in these big Zoom calls, these big meetings with people that have bad background noise, there's now a way to control that. That's the cool thing. But let's kind of just take a look at what it's like to actually do the noise cancellation with the headset that we have here. And I think we can actually just look at your display. Are we set up to do that right now?
Yeah, I got a G14 here, and we got everything set up. I already launched Armory Crate, so this is the homepage on Armory Crate. And you just go to Devices. They'll see I got the Chakra mouse and the ROG Strix Go 2.4 wireless. So I just click on there, and within the Audio tab here at the top, you can see Sound Optimization. All the way at the bottom, you see there's AI noise cancellation. I don't know why we moved it to the bottom. I'll check if we can move that to the top. You would want that at the top, right? So there you go. Right now, it's turned off. Oh, and I have to mention, so this headset comes with two mics. This mic that you see here right now, that's with a small, flexible boom arm that you can bend around and make sure it's right in front of your mouth. It actually has a built-in mic as well, so you can just pull this out as well. We're just kind of using this mic now for show effect because it looks cool on camera, right? But yeah, so you can turn AI noise canceling on and off here, and it should apply almost instantly. So now I turn it on, and now I turn it off. You probably can't.
It's funny because there is actually white noise in the background of your mic with it off.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just like it sounds like staticky, like a little bit like a white noise in the background.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably the AC. It's probably picking up the AC.
Probably.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, and even small things like this, you can just filter out. So now it's gone. And if I stop talking, you should just hear nothing at all, right?
It's
completely
clean,
quiet.
Just bliss. What you want to hear this weekend when your child's not at home.
Yes, Exactly. Yeah, so I prepared some really annoying stuff here. This is a piece of wrapping from a water bottle, but this is pretty much the same kind of material that candy wrapping is made out of. And we all know that's one of the most annoying sounds we hear as well, in cinemas and sometimes on Zoom calls as well, people eating candy. So I'm just gonna. How does that sound?
That's some ROG ASMR right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think people like that though? Like, is there
There's
anybody who?
probably someone that likes that,
Oh,
but
really?
I'm not
Okay.
that person. Let's noise cancel that.
Yeah, so let me turn on the noise canceling. So now the noise canceling is on. And I think
It picks up a
when,
little bit when you're speaking because it's picking up your voice and it has to let sound in. But
right.
if when you're not speaking, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, so when I'm talking, it still picks it up a little bit because there are some frequencies that overlap with what could be human voice and then can't tell 100% like, is this part of the voice or not? But yeah,
It's impressive at
cool.
how quick it works. Yeah, it's just a simple as a click.
So I turned it off again. Another thing we can do is keys. So I got my keys here. You can hear the keys, right?
Yeah.
And I'll turn the AI noise canceling on.
Yeah, works good.
And I'll turn it off.
And it's fun because it's like, the algorithm is like, well, I hear a voice, so I want to let noise in. And then it's like, okay, well, the voice is gone and it corrects itself and it lets it out or kicks it out.
Yeah. And here you can also see there's something we call noise gate, which is essentially how aggressively you want to filter out background noise. And we set it to 100%. For some people, this can cause voice distortion. For us, we tried it. I mean, it can set it to 50% as well now and turn it on. Like we played around with it. We couldn't really tell any difference at all. It might depend on the microphone, like what kind of microphone you're using, what kind of background noise you have. But yeah, we have an adjustment slider here as well. So to make sure that it doesn't distort your voice if you set it to be too aggressive, or if there's a lot of background noise, then you can set it to be more aggressive.
It's funny because going on and off, you can kind of hear a little bit of the distortion there. So finding that balance is, I guess, is half the battle. But it's minor, but it is there just slightly.
Yeah, so we give you that option to fine tune it. And yeah, and now I can try the keyboard as well. So this is our Flare keyboard, which is actually not that loud. So for mechanical keyboards,
what kind of switches are they? Brown?
These are blue switches.
They're
so I
blue?
chose the one with blue switches
Yeah,
because
blues are pretty
those are
loud.
the loudest.
Yeah, very
yeah,
clicky.
but we isolated the body, the chassis of the keyboard pretty well. And yeah, depending on how you do the PCB and the steel plate to support the PCB and everything, it actually makes a big difference in how loud the mechanical keyboard is. And yeah, we did a pretty good job. I mean, you can clearly hear
Of course,
that there is a mechanical keyboard here, but others are much louder. There's another one here in the office from another brand. That one is super loud. Yeah, let me turn on.
And now we can't hear it anymore. And so here's the funny thing is because when it comes to like gaming and streaming and esports, my entry was a lot of early on at Twitch. Like I was running StarCraft tournaments with MLG, and StarCraft 2 was like the game. This was very early Twitch. This was 10 years ago. Back then, if you watch the StarCraft stream, you're hearing mechanical keyboards clicking pretty much the entire stream. So for me, I like that. Right, I'm used to that. It's just what existed. It's almost therapeutic. So this is an instance where I would want the AI noise canceling off, and that's why we give you the option. And people have asked, why is there an option to even turn it off? Why would you want it on? And that's one case where it's like, okay, well, no, I know that I have a controlled space, and I want to be able to deliver a certain kind of broadcast or whatever. If I'm a content creator, that's a reason to turn it off, right? But
it also adds to the environment. I mean, the thing is, you can kind of tell how tense the match is right now, depending on how fast these are clicking.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear. You can hear as well what they're doing. Like sometimes they have these repetitive patterns of clicking where they're executing certain things, right? And you just hear the same kind of pattern of clicking sounds, like da 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 da, and you can even tell from the clicking sound like what they're doing right now in the game. So yeah, I can totally relate to wanting to hear the keyboard sound in matches.
Yeah, yeah, it's everybody's got their preference, and that's why we've got a checkbox there.
Yep. And then I brought a bottle. So you can see I got a drink bottle right here. And that one you can see, you can hear it. That's maybe something, you
Yeah,
hear somebody picking up a bottle,
yep.
and
And
now you should not be able to hear it.
yeah, unless you're talking, it's complete silence. Cool. All right.
Yep.
Makes a
Yeah,
big
and
difference.
yeah, one thing we can do as well, we can look at how it looks, visualizing what it looks like when you have the AI noise canceling on and off. I can do some clapping as well, but I think we got the picture.
As much as I want to make you clap like a seal, I think we can forego that.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else you want me to do? I'm your
Um,
clown for today.
no, that's fine. I think we were going to take a look at Audacity, though.
Yeah,
Right? We talked
exactly.
about
So
Audacity is
let's
a
bring up
free to
Audacity.
use recording program that a lot of people use for podcasting and stuff. And this is a nice way to just kind of see what the results look like here with the wavelength, the waveform.
Right. So now I have it off. So let me do a quick recording. You can see testing 1, 2, 3. So right now I'm using the wrapper and it's off. And set it to here. Now I turn it on. And now this is the same thing with AI noise canceling turned on. And you can clearly see the difference. So you can see that with AI noise canceling off, it's a lot more spiky. And those are because, Candy Wrapper, it's like a very short burst of a high frequency
Right.
cracking. And that's what you can clearly see on the graph here versus it being off. And yeah, that's a fun way to really show the difference. I can try something else as well.
Hmm.
What else? Should I do the keys or the keyboard? I can do the keyboard.
Yeah, try the keyboard. That's probably the most common use case scenario.
So I can turn it off and start recording. Let me mash those keys as hard as I can.
Pretty similar
Oh
in terms
yeah,
of, yeah, but
beautiful.
it's beautiful. It's art. He's going to print
Yeah,
this
look
out and
at
paste
that.
it on his wall when he gets home.
It is beautiful. And now let me see. All right, mashing the keys, and you see
Yeah,
the
it
difference
cleans it
very,
up
very
a lot.
nicely.
That's a drastic difference.
Yeah, so that's a really cool way to show the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. So that's basically it's called the upstream. Anything that comes to the or uplink or upstream.
upstream. Yeah,
Upstream, yeah.
upstream is anything that comes from your device, your microphone, and you stream it up into the cloud, onto the servers for everybody else to listen to. And that's where you want to filter out the background noise so other people don't hear annoying stuff that's going on here. And downstream is anything that comes in, you can filter it out. And like you said, games have come a long way. Like back in the days, you had to, set up your own app, and over the time, those apps changed so much.
Mm.
There were so many different apps. There was Mumble, there was TeamSpeak. I think TeamSpeak's still around, right? There's so many apps that have come and gone over the years. And now a lot of games have built-in voice chat, and sometimes it works very well, sometimes not so well. It is pretty cool if it's done right. It adds to the immersion
It
because you have
does.
this like the further somebody is away, the quieter you hear them. It's kind of fun, it makes it more immersive.
Yeah.
But then, for example, that's where if you have AI noise canceling support for the downstream, that's not that easy to do because the AI then can't tell what is something you want to filter out and what is something you don't want to filter out. Because if you try to filter it just from all the audio that the game is presenting to you, it would, for example, go like, oh, you're sneaking in Counter-Strike, or you're walking around the corner in Counter-Strike. Let me remove those footsteps.
Not
Let me
good.
remove,
Yeah.
yeah. And oh, there's some weird loud sounds in the background, explosions and gunshots. Let me filter that out because you just want to hear the voices, right? So that's where that might become an issue. And that's where it's really cool to have app-based specific granularity where you can choose for this application, I want to apply AI noise canceling, and for this one, I don't. So then you can use Discord and only apply it to Discord, for example, instead of applying it to the game.
Yep. So, let's just kind of bring it back a little bit. Next year, our 2021 laptops, if you're just tuning in, will all have two-way AI noise cancellation. And this is going to be CPU based. It's not going to be using any of your GPU. So it's going to free up your GPU to do everything it wants when it comes to gaming or streaming or whatever you're doing. If, as we are the Republic of Gamers, I think we're speaking mostly to gamers. And in that situation, the CPU really shouldn't be, it's very little usage. Like it's basically nothing.
Yeah, we ran some tests. So Ryan and Jerome did some tests based on this and tested. I think we ran a hardware info log and we captured the CPU use, GPU use, the clocks, and the FPS. We tried different games they ran, Shadow of Tomb Raider and some other games as well. Borderlands 3, I think it was. And also some Mordau, I remember.
That game is really
Yeah,
fun.
and yeah, it is. The audio cues especially, right? So it's perfect for AI noise canceling.
But
Um,
just speaking about that test with the Shadows of Tomb Raider, if you were using no noise cancellation, in this test that we did on the GTX 1650, the average
mhm,
FPS was 54.948. And
mhm.
then when you enable the two-way AI noise cancellation, the FPS was 54 by 714. So you're losing 0.2 frames per second on your average frame for that effect. So that's pretty
Yeah, and
great.
that's pretty much within the error of margins. So I mean, if we would have run this a couple more times, it might have come out the other way around, that you actually get slightly higher FPS with it turned on, because it's so close. You can't really you can barely even measure it. So yes, it does slightly impact performance, but really 0 point something FPS, you really can't tell the difference. CPU percentage wise, I think it was around 2%. It uses around 2% extra CPU. And with all these powerful CPU cores we have in our laptops and these days, that's really not an issue at all.
Yeah, and just kind of to draw the comparison with some of the GPU noise cancellation, in this
Hmm.
exact test, the average frame rate went down by 9 FPS. So rather than losing 0.2, you lose 9 FPS. So it all depends
Yeah, and
on how it's done, I
it, it
guess.
all it all depends on the kind of background noise as well. So if
Mm.
there's more background noise, then the load is going to be higher on the GPU or the CPU. And for CPU, we found like even in the worst case, it's like 2% or 3%. If there's like really extremely loud background noise and all sorts of frequencies all over the place. And for GPU-based, GPU-accelerated AI noise canceling, it can go pretty high. It can go more than 10% of performance impact. So I think there was a couple of media outlets that analyzed this as well, and they found in some scenarios it can go as high as I think 20% performance drop
Wow.
with GPU accelerated AI noise canceling, which is quite significant. I mean, that you can actually feel. You can really feel the difference, especially when it happens. When somebody throws a grenade or something blows up, and your system is already struggling, and the FPS are already diving a little bit, and then you have the AI noise canceling on top of it. That's really where you don't want to. You want every frame your system can possibly churn out.
A lot of different situations, sirens in the background. Again, I lived in Manhattan for a long time and I used to podcast, and it would ruin the show, like straight up. Like just straight, you hear the siren, it parks outside on the street of your apartment. And I lived in Astoria at the times. And I just remember one of my episodes of my podcast, the siren was just there for 15 minutes. Not only am I horribly distracted, but I know the whole chat was just complaining about the siren. Well, guess what? Now you can clean that out for yourself, or if somebody else on the podcast had that noise coming through their mic, you could filter them
Yep.
out. That's the coolest part of
Yeah.
this.
Police sirens, ambulance sirens, those work really well. Car alarms, like when
Yeah.
you live in a neighborhood, and it's it's quite common. I've had that in the past as well. There's always this one car that gets triggered by anything. Like there's a slight breeze and suddenly it starts beeping and goes nuts. Somebody's trying to steal me. Help, help. And yeah, you can filter that out. really well with AI noise canceling as well. Those kind of high frequencies work super well.
I'm actually really glad we have this technology because I'm getting a new home studio built for streaming. I'm getting like we're doing a lot of construction in my home. So when I stream and I create these kind of shows, I don't have to worry about it. Just boop, you guys won't hear the terrible racket that's occurring.
Yeah, it's really, and I think it's something that it takes some time to get used to. That also you're not aware of it. Like other people, can't uh, can't hear the noise that is around you.
You're almost
It's
used
kind
to
of
like
weird.
apologizing. Oh, sorry about that noise. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and you're like in a super noisy environment, so that also the way you talk changes. You talk more slowly and you talk louder, more pronounced, and people go like, "Why you sound a little bit weird? Is everything okay? Why are you talking like this?" And it's because it's so loud you can barely hear your own voice. They can't hear any of it, so that's kind of funny as well.
it's a lot of fun. Um, any other key things to talk about with this? So this is like we said, it's going to be on all of our laptops next year. Very easy to use. You can target at whatever application you want. I think it would be fun to play with this and try like using it on a song and only getting the voice. It would just take all the instruments out. So if you just wanted like a specific quote from a song or a movie and you wanted to remove all the background noise from like a movie, you just want a clean quote coming out of it. That's something you could do with this as well, which is kind of neat. And just as like a creator, if you're making like notifications for your stream and you just want somebody yelling something for your stream alert, again, I'm always going to think of things in like a streamer's perspective. That could be a cool way to just kind of take all that background noise out, and get that clean feed rather than trying to find how to like a video game asset and try to go into the back end and download like that audio file, which I've done. I've gone into games and
Mm,
be like, all right, I want this soundbite. I want this exact quote. And I'll like try to Google it, try to find it on some forum, see if somebody else
mm.
has pulled the file out. Now you can just go in and record it yourself super easily, which again, that's a very niche thing, but it's still cool to be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Cool. Any final thoughts, Sascha?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this to become a mainstream thing where you just have it everywhere. For me personally, like distracting noises I'm very sensitive to that, and it really bothers me a lot. And that's actually one of the things I like about living in Asia and not understanding the local language is it just becomes background noise, and it's much easier for me to just tune it out. And
I
having
get it.
having AI noise canceling, it's going to be even better. If everybody starts using this, and if I can have this on all of my headsets, on all my devices, all the time, that's going to be amazing. The world is going to be so much more quiet and peaceful.
Could you imagine earbuds that basically filter out all that noise? So you just put them in your ear and it picks up human voices only, but filters everything else out. I mean, technically,
Yeah,
that's something that could easily be done with the technology we have. But
yeah,
would
yeah,
would
yeah,
you
pretty
want
much.
that? Just walking through the city, no cars, no train noise, none of that.
Yeah,
It'd be
and I
kind of
wouldn't even
weird.
want to hear human voices. I wouldn't want to hear anything. That's my dream, just plugging in something into my ears and not hearing anything. So I mean, that's what noise canceling headphones, active
Yeah,
noise canceling headphones are all about, right?
yeah.
And I think in the end, it is gonna go there where you can really filter out everything. And you bring up a very good point. It becomes dangerous because when you really filter out everything and you walk on the street, like you might not realize how important it is, and that you subconsciously hear a lot of things that really
Well, you're taking away
are
one of
important.
your senses that you're used to relying on, right?
Yeah, most people go like, "Oh, yeah, but if there's a car crossing, or if there's a bicycle coming up from behind me or from the side, I'll see it, and I'll avoid running into it because I'll see it, and not because I hear it." But I think that's like a lot of people don't notice that subconsciously they do actually hear it before they see it.
Hmm.
And if you take that away, that actually really makes a big difference. So you usually do see it, but first you hear it, and then you turn over there, and then you see it. And that's something that there's been a lot of research on this as well when it comes to how quickly we can respond to different senses and stimuli. That hearing is actually, that's where we're one of the most sensitive to latency. So there you can really respond very quickly. If
Huh.
there's like yeah, it's faster than our visual input response from what I read. So yeah, it's subconsciously you're not aware of it, but when you respond to something, it's usually you hear it first, and then you turn your head or you turn your eyes, and then you focus on it. So it can be dangerous to not hear anything. That's why you always get these warnings as well with noise canceling headphones, like don't use it while you're driving a car or operate machinery or something like that.
Makes sense. Better
But
safe than
having the option is great. I'm looking forward to that. Just have to use it responsibly, like any technology. But
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to two-way AI noise cancellation in our upcoming products because again, I really some of our meetings that I sit in, people have background noise, dogs, kids.
Yep.
So many people are working
Yeah.
from home that their kids are just, running around playing because they're not in school or they're homeschooling or they're too young or whatever. And I don't want to hear that. Oh, look,
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
have to. Turn it off. Boom.
Yeah. I also don't want other people to hear that, from my home. So
Yeah.
sometimes we have like late night calls, and so I'm at home, and I don't want people to hear my baby cry in the background. It's,
Yeah.
a little uncomfortable.
Not the best. All right, guys.
Yep.
Well, tomorrow we're going to be doing an episode of ROG Live playing Ghost Runner and giving away some
Cool.
codes for Ghost Runner. That game actually has the built-in Aura Sync technology. So basically, my mouse, my keyboard, my desktop, and the back of my monitor, which has its own LED, will all be responding to the game, and it's pretty neat. So we're going to be showing off exactly how that works. That works with laptops. That works with pretty much any of our Aura devices, which there are quite a few. For most of our, I feel like we have RGB on the majority of our products at this point, at least for the ROG products.
Yeah, that game has really come a long way as well. I remember playing it when it was in beta or early access or something on Steam.
Yeah.
And it looks so much better now already in just a couple of weeks. It looks really, really cool now. Very, very detailed, very cyberpunky. Really nice.
I played it briefly, and it's a lot of fun because it's a game where if you get hit once, you're dead. So it's all about precision. It's
Yeah,
like, but it's
that's
like,
my gripe
but
with
you
it.
you die and you come back so fast that it's like, okay, I got this. Okay, I got this, and it's really fun. If there was any downtime with your death, I would hate it. But the fact that it
Mm,
never stops and the checkpoints are frequent, it's just like I can get through this. You're learning. You might find a room where there's
yeah,
one guy you didn't notice and he's shooting you from a weird angle, and it's like, okay, I need to deflect that guy or get around him. And the coolest thing about it, I'm just getting pumped about tomorrow's stream to play this game because the coolest thing about that game is just the fact that it's really made for speedrunners, and we're gonna be seeing people become legends at this game, and that's gonna be really fun to watch over time.
yeah, and for people who are not familiar with the game, it's kind of like Mirror's Edge. So it has this really cool high-speed parkour element to it. That's what really drew me to it. For me personally, yeah, I wish there were more checkpoints. You said there's very frequent checkpoints. I wish there were more. Yeah, and I wish I could take more than just one hit.
Uh,
I don't have a lot of time these days to play anymore. Very little time, and so having to replay any kind of sequence just for me is like, don't have time. Damn it.
Sounds like
But yeah, I
Sascha
love
needs
the
to
game.
step his game
Really
up.
cool. Yeah, I have to get good.
Get good, son.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Pulse is a show that we do every Thursday. We cover a variety of topics, and we actually have the YouTube playlist fully up to date. So check out the RNG YouTube if you want to see some past episodes. We recently just did a teardown of the Zephyrus Duo laptop. We did some conversations showing off the new AMD graphics cards. Just last week, we showed those off and what we're going to be having. We talked about the Ryzen series, which I just pre-ordered a 5900 of the new Ryzen Zen 3. It's not for me. It's for my wife. She's spoiled. She's going to have a better PC than me at this rate. We're building her a brand new machine for her job.
I hope she knows that you're spoiling her,
She's
as long as she
she's paying
appreciates it.
for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Never
just
mind.
building it. But yeah, it's a lot of cool technology stuff. I'll be sure to post lots of pictures of that build because it's gonna be a beauty. I'm just waiting on the motherboard and the CPU at this point, and then someday we'll upgrade the graphics card whenever I can get her a 3080. Or maybe an
once it's
AMD.
available.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Someday we can dream, right?
Yeah.
I know Chad agrees. They're all hungry. They're all hungry. Guys, trust me, we're hungry too, to get our hands on those cards. But
Oh yeah, the interesting thing is I heard actually the number of cards shipping is really high. So
the
even
demand is
though
just too high. That's the thing.
yeah, the demand is just too
I
high.
heard that. Well, what
People
I
people have the impression that there are no cards shipping, it's hard to find cards. It looks like, oh, it was just a paper launch or something. Like, no, there's actually a lot of card shipping, but there's so many people that want them that
don't
you
quote
can't
me on
find
this,
it.
but I think there's more than normal shipping. In fact,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, but
More than the 2 previous launches. That's what I heard. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just word
It
of
still
mouth.
sucks
But
if you can't get one in the end, you know?
of
Yeah.
course, everybody's frustrated, and I think one of the problems is, we could have a whole conversation on this. Is scalpers? Scalpers are always
Yeah.
going to be tough, but that's all dependent on the vendors being able to stop the scalpers. The Amazon, the Best Buy, the B&H, whoever. Those are the people that are selling the cards, and that's the nature of the beast. But I think we're gonna wrap it there, Sascha. It's been fun chatting about AI noise cancellation. We got lots more coming here with ROG Pulse, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. GG's.